o'clock, but we will call the meeting to order. This is the annual meeting for April 21st, 2015. And I welcome and I'm glad to see as many people turn out as we do have. So the agenda is not required, however, we do have one so that we can do an orderly discussion and or meet. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Immediately behind you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As is customary, whether you're at a town meeting, an annual meeting, or a committee meeting, we do start off by introducing and meeting one another. And I'm honored and I have the privilege this evening to introduce my wife, Margie, who is going to be the very first one to, I told you it'd be important when you get first. Let's start over there. So, your name would be wonderful. Where do you live?
Hi, I'm Margie Zipper, and I live on Bayshore Drive next to the cemetery.
There will be a memorial light.
Right. Jean Tice, Bayshore Drive.
Arlene Wolfel, Bark Road.
Dennis Markworth, Glidden Drive.
Mary Ellen Hain, Matthew Road.
John Beck, Forest Road.
Tom Jordan, South Cape Point.
John Stavnes, Whitefish Bay Road.
Chuck Tice, Bayshore Drive.
Leo Zipper, Bayshore Drive.
Dick Weidman, South Country View Road.
Dan Wolfel.
Park Road.
Tony Hain, Matthew Road. Armando Zaladon, it's the house of the Hickman Post.
Birthday, Whitefish Bay Trails.
Jerry Osler, South Lake Road.
Janine Rogenhorst, representative from Shane.
Linda Waite, well, Drive, Court.
Yeah, Bill Lomberg, Drive.
Tim Herlash, Sevastopol Fire Chief.
Tim Mittens is a fire chief.
Abe Floor, South Country View Road.
Chad Simon, Country View Road.
John Paul, Berkman Drive.
Okay, thank you all for showing up this evening. Probably one of the largest groups that we've had for a while. And we are even going to bond any money.
I'll be right. Go ahead, I'm just
Well, the first thing on the agenda is to thank Dick Weidman for his services as a supervisor for the last couple of years. And due to an election, he's not going to be with us for the next two. So many of you know him from the, what is the terminology of the station?
Peninsula Agricultural Research Station.
Yeah.
32 years.
Anyway, he's going to be available for all kinds of,
Good things.
yeah.
Good things for the town.
And most recently, he just took care of our hash for you.
I did come down.
So with that, we don't have a plaque to give you,
It's quite all right.
but if we did, that and a $5 bill will get you a cup of coffee. So,
I'll take the $5.
Thank you. So because you're no longer on the board, you don't have to leave, you can stay.
It's been an educational experience. I'll probably leave it there.
Well, Dick also serves on the school board. Very active there as well. So now you can, no, that's already passed. Okay.
But I would like to thank all the electors of the Sevastopol School District for passing the referendum, our operational referendum that we just went through. The school district really appreciates your support, and we'll keep things on a high level as we always have at Sevastopol School District. So thank you to all the electors for passing the referendum.
Okay, thank you. And the next item would be the swearing in the oath of office for the newly elected. Are you ready for that?
I'm ready, yes. If you will, Supervisor Stavis, Supervisor Hain, and Chairman Zipper. I can do them one at a time or all together?
All together.
All right, all together. So Leo W. Zipper, having been re-elected as chairman of the Sevastopol Town Board of Supervisors. Supervisor John Stavinis, having been re-elected as supervisor to the town board. And Tony Hain, having been newly elected as supervisor for the town board. If you would please raise your right hand and I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties of said office to the best of your ability? And if so, please say, I will.
I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're almost straight on time. The next item would be the special reports. And we have Janine Robinhorst from Sync Solutions with us. And her report will be on the 2014 audit.
I'll just go through the report briefly, and then if you have any questions while we're going through anything, please stop me and we can answer it then right away. The report on page 1, it starts with the independent auditor's report. The town received an unmodified opinion, which means that is a clean opinion, which is the best opinion you can get. On page 3.
Are you on the big book?
Yes, the big book, the audit report.
Yeah, okay. I'm waiting for you.
And page 3 starts the government-wide statements. These statements show all of the assets and all of the long-term debt of the town. They're included on here, which aren't normally reported in your fund financial statements. So the fund financial statements actually begin on page 5.
Okay, you're way too fast. Let's
Sorry.
go back to page 1, where you talked about the independent auditor's report.
Yes.
To the town board. I didn't realize we were the village of Sevastopol.
Yes, I know, and Linda did notified me of that last week, and they are sending new pages to the town so that this page can be replaced. What happens is this letter changes each year, and we pull in the new letter, and we are supposed to catch that. And
Also
we did
missing
not.
was Konechki's signature.
This is his signature, just as Shank.
All right.
And then, as I said, pages 3 and 4 are just government-wide statements, where they include all the assets and debt. Page 5 is the fund financial statements. This is how you're used to seeing. It does not include all of the capital assets such as buildings and roads, and it does not include your debt on here. So as you can see, from 2013, fund balance was about $240,000. It increased about $100,000 to $340,000 at the end of 2014. It does show the amounts that the town board has committed for special purposes, such as the break wall. And the new one this year is for capital asset replacement, revaluation. leaving an unassigned fund balance of $207,000. Unassigned fund balance is the amount of fund balance that you have left to use for town purposes. And starting in 2014, you said.
Which page are you on now?
5.
Page 5. There.
In 2014, the town adopted a fund balance policy. And in that fund balance policy, it stated that you needed to have 15% of general fund expenditures left at the end of the year in unassigned fund balance. That calculation would be $146,000, so the town did meet their fund balance policy and actually has a little excess in there. So that leaves you in really good financial position. On page 6, it's just a statement of revenue and expenditures. Just shows how that fund balance did increase, that you had more revenues than you had expenditures going out during the year. And on page 8, it shows the revenues and expenditures compared to budget. So you'll notice that you had some excess revenues in your budget, and that is most of the reason why the fund balance did increase. And those were mostly some of the grants for the road where the county paid a portion, and then you got some extra state transportation funding for that. So that's mostly what made up that increase. Then pages 9 through 18 are the footnotes. All the footnotes really do is there's additional information on items in the statements. And then on page 19, these are more detailed budget to actual statements that agree to what's reported up front. So that you can see where the actual variances came in and where you had the positive revenues. So you'll see, like Forest Roads, there was $54,645 that was received that wasn't in the budget. And so that's where, that was for that project, was it that part that you? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you said Forest Road through me, I saw it.
Right, that's what the state called the funds when they sent them through, type of funding.
Actually, Shower,
They're
the work was done
Oh,
on
it's Shower?
Shower Road, but it's forest funds or whatever.
Right, that funded a portion of it,
That was actually DNR money.
correct. No, I don't ever see roads normally with DNR funding, so that's really great that you're able to receive that. And then it just continues on pages 20 through 21, showing the detail of the expenditures. There was nothing, no big changes or swings or anything outstanding. And do you have any questions on any of the, yes?
I just have a nit, it's on page 6. The capital outlay, in 2013 it was 6,000, in 2014 it was 2,000. That seems, even though it's a little number, that seems a pretty big swing.
If you go to the back then, pages on page 21, it shows the 6,000 was made up of cable, and that was, most of the decrease was in cable equipment.
Okay.
There was 2,400 spent in 13 and 500 in 2014. And then in some town park improvements also decreased.
Okay.
Is there any other questions on the report?
That's good.
So we still have some money left at the end of the year, is what you're telling us?
Right, and with that 207,000, because it is over your minimum fund balance of the 146, the board could decide if you wanted to put more into some of your committed amounts, or you could assign or commit for other purposes if you had projects that you wanted to fund.
You said you had a minimum of 15% that you could,
Of
do you have more than that?
You can, it's just, that's what they decided that they wanted as a minimum. They don't want to go below 15%. We always recommend to have between 15 to 25% of your general fund expenditures in fund balance.
We do that so that we don't have to borrow any money for our operation.
Right, so if an unexpected expense comes up, you'll be able to cover it in the meantime.
Very good. Any other questions for Janine? Okay, were you gonna get into the other?
This is just the management communications letter. It hasn't really changed from years past. It's just items that we're required to, disclose to the board, whether we had any problems with the audit or any issues, and we didn't really have any, so it's just stating all that. It's just items we're required to communicate.
At the bottom of page 24, you had, your company had recommended, essentially continuing with your services, it sounded like. And the management response was the town to continue to review and approve the annual financial report prior to issuance. Was there a mismatch there?
No, we always send a draft to Linda to review, and she approves it before we ever send this out.
Okay.
Send it out to her, so she reviews it and she'll ask questions, we get back to her on the questions, we change any changes that she suggests, and then we then send it out.
So when I went through it before, what stuck out to me was the last effect on page 24, where it says, without our involvement, the town may not be able to completely prepare an annual financial report.
Well, that means this, preparing this full document. In order to do it, Linda would probably have to go through some extensive training in order to make sure she had all the required footnotes and items that are required to be in a financial report in accordance with GAAP. So that's why pretty much every town board or our clients have this comment in here, because they do have us prepare it for them.
And because it is a combined clerk-treasurer position, Dr. Beck,
Sure.
we are required to have an audit. If we had independent clerk and independent treasurer, that probably wouldn't be the case, but we were required to do an audit when it's a combined position.
Very good. Any other questions before we move on? We thank you for your time. And we do know you have to travel down to the valley, so.
Thank you.
And thank you. As always, it's a pleasure working with Shank and
Yes, you
all of your
too.
reps, so
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, we're a little ahead of schedule. Tim, are you ready? We can.
You are ready.
We'll jump right into it. The annual fire report, 2014. If you didn't pick one up, it's on the table. So, at your pleasure.
Okay, thank you, and thank everyone for allowing us to come here tonight. The first page really is just our roster. You may note on the bottom of the part-time staffing, of the 15 part-time firefighters, 4 of those are residents of Sevastopol. And in fact, we're in the process of hiring an individual right now, and he also is a resident of Sevastopol. So 5 of our 15 will be out here in Sevastopol. The next page is just our mission statement. The Sturgeon Bay Fire Department's mission is to protect life and property from fire, medical, and environmental emergencies for our community through public education, code management, and incident response. The next page is just a list of our equipment. There is one footnote, Unit 8. And you'll see a little bit later on in the report, Unit 8, which was a 2006 Ford mini pumper, that has been replaced with a 2014 Dodge 4x4 mini pumper. So when we get to the part where our capital improvements went up, that was the cost of that vehicle, mainly the cost of the vehicle. You may also notice we have two boats. The 2010 25 or 27-foot safe boat is kept in the water down by the DNR dock in the city. And then we have a Quicksilver, it's like a rigid hull inflatable that we tow. So when we get a water rescue call in Sevastopol, for example, the West Side Station responds down to the big boat that's in the water, and then the East Side Station takes off with our rescue vehicle with the smaller boat and goes directly to the scene. Because we don't always know, how the seas are going to be traveling by boat versus by water. The person might be in shallower water that we can't get a bigger boat into, and it works out quite well. It's probably 50-50 on to which boat gets there first, depending on where the call is and the weather is like. The small boat is also used for ice rescues. It's small enough that we can carry it down to the beach, drag it out on the ice. If we have open water, we can then dump it into the water, motor across, if a large crack opens up, pull it back out and drag it to the individuals. We also have a specialty response trailer, which carries our trench and collapse rescue equipment and various rescue capabilities in that trailer.
So Tim, if you get a 911 rescue on the water, you're the first responder. I mean, the Coast Guard doesn't enter into the picture at all?
The Coast Guard does. It takes a minimum of 20 minutes for the Coast Guard to get underway. So we have had many times where the call was out off of the park or Cave Point or something, where we have performed the rescue before and really on the way back to the station before the Coast Guard has arrived on scene. And that is no fault of the local Coast Guard station, that's just protocol. They have to call Group Milwaukee, and Group Milwaukee has to okay everything before they can even get underway. So it's a minimum of 20 minutes. Yeah. So a number of years ago when we got into ice rescue and water rescue, that was the main reason. It seems kind of odd. We have 3 Coast Guard detachments in Sturgeon Bay. But they just work under a different set of rules, and yes, sir.
Tim, that being said, that's the news to me at 20 minutes. Do you have enough equipment then?
Yes.
You feel you do? Okay.
We have our boat, of course, the DNR boat's available. We have mutual aid agreements with Jacksonport. They have a boat, Bailey's Harbor, Egg Harbor has, Bailey's has one as well. Southern Door, Bug Fire has our old boats, so there's a lot of boats available.
And anytime at the park, it's a dual call.
It's a dual call.
With Jacksonport and
Correct.
Sturgeon Bay and Sevastopol. So.
Right. And then recently we've also initiated the Mavis card, mutual aid box card alarm system, which we can pull a certain card for the type of call that we have, and it lists all our resources, and instead of having to think, who has what, you just call a box number into dispatch and they'll automatically dispatch the appropriate people for that type of call. So it's all pre-planned. We don't have to think, oh yeah, Bug has a fire. What happens with water and ice rescues is oftentimes the person calling from shore thinks it's right out in front of their place. Yeah. And it really may be off of Potawatomi Park, to the north of Potawatomi Park. And so oftentimes we'll have people be responding from both directions. Okay, the next page is the total number of calls the fire department received. Last year was our record year, department-wise. We had 1,293 calls. That was 127 over 2013. So we had a busy year. Fortunately, fire calls, structure fires themselves are down nationally because of better building codes and fire prevention and smoke detectors and so on and so forth. But the other types of calls are increasing, rescue calls and specialty calls and medical calls. As the population ages, the medical calls increase as well. Total number of calls for Sevastopol in 2014 was 64. That was 5 more than in 2013. Of those were 60 fire calls and 4 medical calls. And Sevastopol has a great EMR group, but occasionally the call is real close to the city, or the person may be larger to where they need additional help, and the paramedics will call us in to help them on the EMR calls. So last year we responded to 4 of those. The average response time to Sevastopol, if you notice, there's emergent response and non-emergent response, and that actually was an increase of response time last year of 1 minute and 11 seconds. And I caught that as we were doing the report, and I was interested in knowing why our response time had increased. So I did some research on it, and the reason was the location of the calls. You know, every year the calls are in different places, so it just happened that in 2014 the bulk of our calls were further away from the city than the previous year. Fire inspections is the next line. We completed 135 inspections. That was down like 5 from the year before. Most of those from the year before were re-inspections for serious violations. So if we go into a place and inspect it, and you know, there's always violations. Some don't warrant a re-inspection. You know, if Linda's exit light was out, we'd tell her to repair it and let us know, email us when it's repaired. But if there's a more serious violation, then we would return, and that would count for re-inspection. So we had basically 5 less re-inspections last year for 2014. 74 violations were noted, and we spent 130 hours inspecting. Public safety education programs were presented to all the students at Sevastopol Elementary School, Door County Child Care. We always participate in Career Day at NWTC, which covers all the high schools in the county, and numerous station tours, and we go wherever. If somebody's having an open house, or you know, if the farm's having a special kids day or something, request a truck, we make sure we send someone out there. The 2014 Town of Sevastopol fire contract has remained steady or constant for the last 3 years at $347,000. If you remember, we signed a 7-year contract that runs through 2019. That contract called for $347,000 for the first 5 years of that contract. That amount is frozen. The last 2 years of that contract, that amount will go up a percentage or go down the percentage equal to what the fire department's operating budget goes up or down. And that percentage will not increase more than 2%.
Does that mean you don't get raises?
We do. That means not much of one.
Okay.
You know, Sevastopol's dealing with levy limits just like the city is, and times are tough right now, and everybody's been forced to tighten their belts and do more with less, and hopefully we get some growth in both the city and Sevastopol's, and that's the only way we're going to be able to continue moving forward with levy limits. There is no other way.
Build new homes.
Yeah, I think the city of Sturgeon Bay increase in the levy limit last year for 2013 over 2014 was 0.1%. Fuel goes up, and you know, wages go up, and health insurance and cost of parts and everything goes up. You know, I'm singing to the choir, Dick, but levy limits are putting everybody behind, and it's gonna take a while.
State legislature could change the formula.
They could, except it's law now, so it would actually take a law to change it. Let's see, 2014 Sevastopol 2% fire dues. That increased $2,901 over last year. And what the fire dues is, for those of you that don't know, 2% of your fire insurance on your homeowner's policy, 2% of the money you pay your insurance company goes to the state. Now, just the portion of your fire dues though, or of the fire insurance for your homeowner's policy goes to the state. That 2% money is used to train firefighters, and then a portion of it goes back to the municipalities who comply with all the requirements to get that 2% back. And that is having a fire prevention program, including inspections and all those things. So that money went up. We can never predict that amount. It might go way down this year. It's just hard to say. While I'm speaking about the fire dues and fire insurance, do not hesitate, anyone in Sevastopol that wants to question their insurance premiums. I get calls, or we get calls literally weekly from homeowners and from their insurance company wanting to discuss our ISO, our insurance rating. And we send out letters all the time explaining how our response is, what we respond to when there's a structure fire in Sevastopol, including mutual aid from Jacksonport, Egg Harbor, for water, for manpower, whatever we need. That has proven to convince a lot of insurance companies that to at least maintain the insurance rates and not increase them as much. The town of Sevastopol is rated as the city of Sturgeon Bay is a 3. The lower the number, the better. So each fire department's rated on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. The city of Sturgeon Bay is a 3. The result is Sevastopol gets rated partially as being served by a number 3 fire department, which is good. Where they get dinged is the water supply, because you don't have a hydrant system. So that's where you get the 8. I got a call yesterday that the ISO has changed that again to read Sevastopol is now a 3-3Y, and it means the same thing. So, but if you ever, the bottom line is, if you ever have problems with your insurance company, or you're getting quotes for insurance and they claim that your rating is a 10 or something like that, please have them call Tim or I at the station, and we'll discuss it with them. We arrive on scene with 6,000 gallons of water, and as I tell the insurance company, just our department alone, if we need more than 6,000 gallons of water to fight your house fire, you're gonna probably want us to pack up and go home before that anyway. So water is not as big an issue as what, at least for the homeowners.
Maybe the ISO rating people realize we have water on both sides of our town.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But they have pretty tough criteria on getting that water.
Very good.
The capital improvements, in which Sevastopol does not get charged for that. The dollars you pay the city of Sturgeon Bay is based off our operating budget. Our capital improvement budget increased $109,214. In 215, we'll be purchasing a new tanker pumper. So I don't know if you've seen that milk truck looking one that we have, that silver tank. That one will be taken out of service for a new and improved model. So that will go up again. 2017 is the year for the replacement of our aerial truck. That's estimated to be at about 1.2 million. Again, none of that is impacting Sevastopol's share of what they pay. The next page is just a list of the violations that we write while we're inspecting. And the top ones are the extinguisher maintenance, as always, hood systems, that's in restaurants, cleanliness, inspections, flexible cords and cables, pretty much extension cords, and exit lights that are not illuminated.
It's basically all commercial?
That's all commercial. We're required, at a minimum, some of that has changed now, at a minimum to do at least one a year. On some businesses, other businesses have to be done twice a year. It depends on the type of use.
Of all the violations you've got listed here, has anyone been cited for some of these violations?
No,
Are they
our goal-
repeated violations?
In all of my years, I've never had to cite anyone. We've gained compliance, and that is our goal, is to gain compliance, not to issue a citation. We've had to threaten a number of times, and lots of letters, and going back, and sometimes even bringing a state inspector in, but we've always been able to at least make some headway. We might not get it all cleaned up in 1 year, but as long as they show an effort and try. What most businesses, we pull up and they like, oh no, we're getting a fire inspection, but we're really there to help them. We don't want their business to burn down and put them out of business, and we're not there to be mean. It's just we want to protect them, their business, and their customers.
Could you give us an example of violation that you violate?
Of a violation?
That occur frequently?
Sure. One is the restaurant hood system and cleanliness. They have to be cleaned depending, again, on the use on the kitchen. So the church kitchen, for example, that only has to be inspected and cleaned once a year because it's not used on a regular basis. Where a bar, restaurant, or something like that, who typically serves a lot of greasy foods, will produce a lot of grease, that hood system will have to be cleaned a minimum of twice a year. And that's not the daily cleaning by the employees. That's a company that has to come in and check the system along with the suppression system. The rest are relatively minor, unless you get into a hotel or motel and the smoke detection or the alarm system's not working. That's an automatic 5 days by law. They have to have that back in service, otherwise they get cited for that. But again, sure. We have threatened to red tag several businesses, including some in Sevastopol, giving them 24 hours notice, otherwise they would be red tagged, which means the doors are locked and they're shut down, and that really gets them to clean things up. Again, our goal is compliance, not to write anybody a citation. The next page is just the breakdown. I'm not going to go through every one, but just the classifications of the fire calls, of the calls. We have the fires, and then the rescue and emergency medical. The ice, water, extrication, search for persons on land and water. This year, actually, those were all water calls. So we had 5 water calls in the town of Sevastopol alone. Kayaking is our leading cause by far and away. Wow. Is kayakers. I think kayaking is a very popular sport right now, and people come from different areas, and our waters are different than a lot of waters, and sometimes they get caught off guard a little bit, and they need some assistance. And then there's the hazardous conditions, the service calls, the good intent calls, and the false alarms. Those were reduced in 2014 over 2013 as well. And I know the question comes up each year, do we cite or charge people for false alarms? And we do not. We work with them. If we have a hotel that's getting a lot of false alarms, chances are their detectors are getting old and need replacement or cleaning or testing. So we try and get that resolved that way. And then the last page, for some reason, is always a media attention getter. Everybody likes to know the most common day of the week to have a fire. Well, for the last 2 years running, it's been on a Friday. So be careful on Fridays. And the most popular time of day was 7 o'clock at night. Last year it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so, but Fridays is the day.
People are grilling later in the day.
I'm thinking that's what's happening, you know, long week at work. And so, with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to, yes ma'am.
Could you explain the lockout service call?
Lockout, that would be, if somebody's locked out of their house,
Call the locksmith.
well, you know, that's just a service we've done. The other thing is oftentimes, there'll be, the police will get a call, or sheriff's department will get a call for, check for well-being or welfare of a person. They'll get there and they can't get in, so they'll call us, and, because they know we like to break windows and stuff. We try not to, we try not to break anything. We have door spreaders. Sometimes there's a window on the second floor we can put a ladder up to, or take a screen out or something like that, so those would be considered lockouts as well.
I understand we're not under the control of the DNR for outdoor burning.
Correct.
They have a statewide ban on outdoor burning. Brown County actually has a total ban. What is Door County status right now?
The chiefs have talked about it. We have not seen, I mean, they have us in extreme danger right now. We've had one little fire in the highway median, a grass fire, and there's been maybe 2 throughout the county, I think. We haven't experienced them.
Nothing's gonna burn on our property.
You know,
We're a swamp.
Yeah, it's, well, water, fire will burn across the water.
Yeah.
And I was worried this year because we didn't have snowpack to knock down the long straw, the long tall grass. So it's standing up. And so even it's wet, even though the ground is wet, that is still straw until things green up. But the calls haven't been there, so we haven't found the need to put a ban on. Yes, ma'am.
I think the Sister Bay Fire Department, they're giving some CPR training. Does the city ever do that?
I'm not sure who they hooked up with. We attempted to do that, and in order to give cards, NWTC is the agent for American Heart Association, the people that give the cards for CPR. And we offered to, we have 2 instructors on our department for NWTC. They offered their time to do the class free. And NWTC has told us there would still be a charge for the class because of the paperwork and the cards and so on and so forth. So we have not done one. We certainly would. And we should talk to Sister Bay to find out if they got a grant for it or something like that. One thing we have started this year, and I'm glad you brought up this, the discussion on CPR. It's not CPR, but the Assistant Chief Detman and Firefighter Montevideo from our department this past year got certified in car seat installations. This past weekend they did a thing at Jim Olson Motors, and encourage anyone, grandparents alike, to contact our department, and they'll show you the proper way to put in your car seat, because every car seat is different, and it's not as simple as just putting a seatbelt across it. I mean, we have these noodle things there, and I don't understand. I mean, they went for like 3 days to learn how to put on.
Probably do a warm climate too, huh?
Yeah. And, you know, I picked him up tonight, and right away he was checking my seatbelt. I don't know what the deal was there, but I would say probably half of the people we have come to the fire station for the car seats are grandparents. So it's a convenient place to come, because if it's winter, we can pull them inside, and it's warm and it's lit, and we can take our time and show you the proper way to put the car seats in.
So in the meantime, the kids sitting on the front seat, car seats in the trunk.
Yeah.
They're coming to the fire station.
Better than the other way around. They
Speaking of winter,
couldn't
still
come.
out the window, we're getting a little snow.
Been there, done that.
It's been an unusual year. So, as always, anybody has any questions at any time, feel free to call Tim or myself at the fire station. And we'll, if you have concerns, we'll come out to your home. I know that a couple of supervisors in Linda quite often on burning permits will call us to go take a look at it before it's issued. We'll do that as well. And with that,
The most recent reason for your involvement with the town has been the renewal of liquor license. Our ordinance requires 2 inspections annually.
correct.
You do those periodically, or?
Yes, we
every
do
6
those. In fact, most of them should be done for Sevastopol, and I'll get that list to you, Linda. We always do the taverns in April and May to give the town time to issue the license, or the business time to correct their violations if there are any.
Right, the 2 most recent now, Cherry Hills and the Tin Plate have been okay?
Cherry Hills has been given occupancy for the bar and the restaurant, and that's it. The hotel has not been given occupancy, so the liquor license is okay with that. And the other one is ways off before they'll be okay.
All right, they were hoping to open on May 15th, so is that a possibility?
It is a possibility, yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, and I guess one last thing, this will be the last annual report that I will be giving, as I am retiring January 3rd. So I'm sure I'll see you before that, but it's been an honor and a pleasure.
You're not going to retire.
Oh, thank you.
Very good.
We have another person retiring too about that same time frame, but maybe both of you would consider coming back for respective meetings. Just kind of keep your hand in the
I'll have nothing else to do, right?
or if you can type.
No.
All right, forget it then.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the minutes of the previous annual meeting, which was April 15, 2014. Everyone can participate in this, so a motion would be in order to approve, and a second. They'll wait for the town board to do it.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion by Laddie on April 15, 2014, with a second by Chuck Tice. Okay, corrections, additions?
It seems like Dan Vocal made some motions. So speaking, I do believe he must have been present. His name is not in the
No.
list under meet and greet.
Now, hold it, he got sworn in.
Well, you get sworn in, so I know I was here.
All right.
I'll accept it the way it came.
Well, he wasn't here for the beginning of it. All right. Any other corrections, additions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The year in review. Did everybody get page 2 of the, on the agenda? We're going to be doing our annual road inspection, and that's due on May 16. So if you have any particular area that is in need of the vision corner trim or movement of a tree or brush, please let us know or let Linda know. The concerns of the past, we didn't have a whole bunch of money in our budget last year, but we did accomplish, was it Forest Road?
Forest Road, right.
About 1.25 miles. But with the expense that we're coming up with on a per mile, we're rather limited in what we can do. We normally try to move about the town, east, west, north, south, so that everybody doesn't think that only my road gets done. But if you do have a problem, let us know, and the trimming in the ditches will remain the same, I think. We're going to do a fence line to fence line initially, and then we'll follow that up with a single cut. The implements of husbandry is quite a concern that's come about. We had to establish a policy on the permits that we were going to be issuing for the ag units as well as the over-the-road type, and we have been inundated with permits from the farmers who are transporting their product to the field. Linda, do you have any idea where you are on total permits issued?
We've only received requests from 3 different farming establishments. They've been very cooperative, their permits are filled out completely, they're aware of the parameters, and they include the maps with the detailed routes. So I have not had any problem at all.
Where are we
One-
number-wise? We have numbers in other communities like 100, 115.
Right, we got quite a few permits from one farming establishment, so I just kind of lumped them all together. So whatever weights, the weights, if they exceed 92,000 pounds, they are required to obtain a permit from the town. So
How much do permits cost?
there is no charge, and we're using a standard form through the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, so every municipality is using the same standard form. So they're pretty uncomplicated, and like I said, all the farmers have been very cooperative.
Okay, and the second reason for issuing the permit is for us to know who is traveling on what road. And we are monitoring those as well as everyone else can. And you can see them go with their large spreaders behind. Normally, the tractor has about 8 tires on it. In the back, you'll see a minimum of 6 very wide tires on the spreader. They are doing a pretty good job, but we want to make sure that they stay on the road. They're being very careful as far as you meeting or them being overcome on a pass. We don't want them to pull off to the shoulder for fear of the break off of the edge of the road, in addition to taking care of our shoulders. So if we can get them to go down the road and stay on the paved portion of that road, and then when they meet a car or whatever, slow down first, then pull over, allowing the other unit enough time to get through, it would be beneficial and we wouldn't be breaking off our roads. And so we are going to be monitoring them. We have some pretty good operators, but we also have those that are kind of fly-by-night and want to get it done like yesterday, so.
So is that the purpose of the permit, to, just for you to check the roads? I mean, is that the
We are
purpose?
not shutting any roads.
No, checking.
Checking.
What's the purpose of the permit, just so that you can?
Know that they can
those-
operate on that road, but we are making sure that we go out to see what kind of condition the road is in as well.
And if there's farmers that are not getting permits and they're on the roads, then what?
Then we'll call the newest supervisor elected to this board. Have him go out there.
Take a scale of range.
The enforcement has to be done by the sheriff, and they would actually have to go and weigh the units, but I don't expect they're gonna take them anywhere to weigh them up. Anyway, it's a process in motion.
So, it'd be nice to have some consumer awareness of that, because I had no idea, and I thought they're supposed to pull over. I didn't know they're supposed to stay on the road.
They are supposed to, but for sake of maintaining our roadway, we're asking them to slow down and then pull over. It's not really the weight that does it so much as
Speed.
the creation of the vacuum that sucks the road right up. All right, enough of that.
Crappy problem.
I'll let Dan Whipple tell us all about Clark Lake Dam. We have all kinds of concerns from the Clark Lake Association.
Well, as probably everybody knows, there's a dam on the Clark Lake that's maintained by the town under a DNR permit. And last year was probably not the best year for Clark Lake dam control because we had an excessive amount of water. In a 2.5 month time frame, we had 16 inches of water, which was tracked very nicely by the Wisconsin Peninsula Experiment Station because they would supply us with the data. But anyway, with that much volume of water in the lake, we were not able to maintain the lake level where the DNR wanted us to do that. The interesting part about inside of that is it almost is a moot point because the dam doesn't have the capacity to take that much water out, probably unless we dynamited it. And the amount of water that we took out of the lake caused the road, the culvert at WD, which is the road that runs into the park, to be right at the road bed. So there was no more capacity to take any more water out of the lake because once you get down to that funnel, we had reached capacity. The DNR was involved in it. We've had residents on the lake call and complain both to the town and to the DNR, and we've had the DNR people involved at the dam since October of last year. Interesting thing is with all of the boards out, and by the way, there's not a lot of depth there to change. We only have like 11 or 12 inches of control of that lake in terms of outflow. With all the boards removed from the lake, it took us 5 months to get the lake level down to the DNR permitted level. So there was such a volume of water that came last fall and so abnormal that with the little control structure that we have at the dam, weren't able to do any more than what exists today. So it is in compliance today, and we're now in the inverse side of that. We're starting to get complaints that the lake level's too low. So you really can't win one. But anyway, that's kind of basically what the story is. There are a couple different suggestions or options that we've discussed with the DNR, and we've also had a preliminary conversation with the county. One is the possibility of changing the process for letting water out of the lake. You'd have to literally see a video of how cumbersome it is, but perhaps try and look at some way to mechanically raise and lower, have more range in raising and lower the dam level. The other one is the investigation of perhaps a second culvert, because if we can let more water out of the lake, we can't get it downstream into Whitefish Bay Creek, which is where the water filters and then subsequently goes into Lake Michigan. So we have a bottleneck there, so we've investigated in a preliminary discussion with the county about a second culvert, because obviously if we don't want to wash out the road, that doesn't get us anywhere either. And the third thing is we're looking at possibly a little bit of a redesign on a grate that prohibits fish from coming upstream into Clark Lake, but because of all the reeds and sticks and twigs and other sort of sundry items that float down into the dam, sometimes the grates get blocked, and so we have to clean them out more frequently to try and keep the water flow. So I think that's basically it. If somebody's got some questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Has anybody discussed dredging? I suppose that's not.
It's not a dredging issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the spillway might
The spillway can only take so much water.
If you put a culvert in, who would pay for that? DNR?
WD, so it would probably fall into the realm of the counties, my guess. But we still have to look at possibly changing.
Am I checking on the relief of the water with an additional culvert? I'm told by the DNR that the people immediately adjacent to Clark Lake, property owners, could be assessed for that project.
Really?
Be careful what you wish for. It might come back to you.
Whoa.
Okay, we'll keep that in the back of our mind anyway. All right, let's move on.
I have a question.
Yep.
My information from the Clark Lake Association indicated pretty much a willful disregard for the permit.
No, that's absolutely incorrect. And let me tell you that I've talked about covering, I've had the DNR out there, you can feel free to pick up the phone and call them. There's been a lot of miscommunication, and some of it comes through your newsletter. And I've also had emails that I got copied in from Bob where he would tell people to call the town board and complain about the fact that boards were not removed, when in fact there were no boards to remove, that they had all been out. So I responded back to Bob immediately and told him, please stop those kinds of communications, because it didn't do anything for anybody except make people feel that something was done wrong. There's no reason why we would attempt to hold the lake level up. In fact, in the summertime, we get complaints that the lake level isn't higher than it's supposed to be per the chart. So, because people want to be able to get their boats in and out. So we have this really strange balance where we get the call that say it's too high, and then we get the call that say it's not high enough. And it's strictly a seasonal call. Summertime, we'd like it higher, so we get our boats in and out. Wintertime, we'd like it lower, so we have a little less ice movement. But no, there's no overt attempt to do anything to impact that area. So.
Do you have anything to follow up on that, or?
Just was trying to get the other side of the story.
Yeah, there normally are two, and there's going to be two opinions, unless you only talk to yourself. So, we've had the problem before with the people that ran the Clark Lake Association, and it has not changed with Mr. Cuffrin coming as the new president. He's attended some of our meetings at which we tried to explain to him the operation as well. We've taken him down to show him that we physically do pick up the boards and put them back in. Everybody has a schedule, knowing what the lifts shall be and the water levels. There's a gauge on the side of the wall. And to Huey's credit, he's done a commendable job. The only way we could ever get anything to stop some of the alleged violations is to have him go out there every day and read the thing and make a log. But I don't know if he wants to do that for the little bit of money that we do pay him for that.
You're welcome to contact Miles Winkler, who's the DNR person that's been out with me at the dam. And we watched an interesting conversation called the Whitefish Bay Dunes, and asked them, because they filed a request or a complaint that the creek bed water flow was being restricted, that they wanted me to take and let boards out to get more water downstream because it was impacting the fisheries. I don't have any boards to take out. So, I mean, it's an interesting topic. We'll spend lots of time on it.
One of the problems that goes along with the newsletter is the fact that please hold the town of Sevastopol accountable. In the most recent month, we have had 2 claims that we've already turned over to our attorney and insurance carrier. I don't know what we did wrong, but I guess we'll be told what it is. So, comes with living on the lake, I think. Okay, the next item goes right with it. The beach testing results are in booklet form, and it would show what had been accomplished in the year 2014. So if you need one, would like one, it's over on the table. Our 2015 open book is set for Friday, May 29 at 10. And the board of review is scheduled for Monday, June 22nd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you need any information as far as the process or when you can appear. Some of them are by appointment. Both or one?
The open book session and appointment is not required. You can certainly call and make one, just so that you do have that time allotted to you. The board of review and appointment is required. However, the town board has accepted walk-ins, so.
It's your opportunity to come in and compare your assessed values or your taxes you pay with what your neighbor does. Okay, the committees will be up for appointment in our regular meeting in a minute. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole bunch of takers when it comes to being a service to the town and serving on the various committees that we do have. It has not been that we didn't try. Linda has been trying. John Stavanis has made contact with people, and I as well. I one day talked to him, and as soon as they find out what's required of them to attend the meetings and make decisions, the answer is I think I take a pass on this one. You'll see later on tonight that the appointments I'm making all have openings, and if you would like to be on the Park and Rec Board or the Fire and Rescue or whatever it is, you know, be in contact later. We'll see if we can't work something out. The comprehensive plan, John, you want to address that one or not?
Yeah, we get to update the comprehensive plan every so often. And by 2018, it is our 10-year annual review. And we could just go on to the next one too. There's other stuff in the comprehensive plan that we have to update. It's a constantly growing thing, changing, and some the town board has to update. Some the committees can update. Last, what was it, I think October or November, the committee decided to, instead of going through a lengthy process of doing a subdivision ordinance, we tried to rezone within a mile of Valney Institute and the highway, or the corridor around Sturgeon Bay. And we had a very big committee, a very big meeting, and there were plenty of people here, and 90% of those people said no. So that was something that nobody wanted at that time, so we decided not to do that. So they took surveys, and it was voted to not do anything on that aspect. So, and I think we are the only full committee now, because we had 3 people that decided not to get on the, not to reserve the committee, and 1 person that had a ill partner, and we could not have meetings for like 3 or 4 months. So, but now I think we're full, right? Yeah.
After tonight, you'll have 6, but we still have 1 opening.
We still have 1 opening. So if anybody would like to serve, there still is 1 opening.
I heard a sure over here.
Sure.
Sure.
All right, let's move on. The other item of interest to everyone else. I don't know, you guys at that table have something going over there. Linda's walking out the door on the 31st as well.
I'm going to Mexico.
Okay, Linda, after, what, 12, 13, 20 years?
2001, yep, since 2001.
Has decided that the end of the year will, 31 will be the end. We haven't started the process to replace her yet, but we do intend to do that by early fall, shooting perhaps for the month of September to advertise and then look at our applicants in October, having the interviews along that line, and hopefully bringing somebody about before she leaves us, and she will as well come back and help along the lines to make sure we don't spend all the money that she's been a very good steward to that point, and
Yes,
So, thank you for now, and if you have someone, if you know of someone who's interested, please give us a call. Broadband internet is the next one, the role for the towns. Linda, are you up to date on that?
No, I'm not actually. This appeared in a UW Extension newsletter. Is it the role of the town or any municipality to try to do something when constituents complain about their internet access? Door County is a little unique in that aspect. Laddie can probably tell you more than me, but with our bluffs and stone foundation and all that, internet access and speed is can be a little contentious at times. So it was just a topic. I'm sure if you go to the UW Extension website, they do have some partnerships that might be available out there where towns could partner with the UW Extension and perhaps some grant funds out there to work on broadband access in combination with an economic development grant or community development grant. So just kind of threw it out there. If anybody has suggestions, I myself, I have a very low-speed internet connection. I don't know what I'm going to do next year, but I've checked with my neighbors to see who they're using, and that's kind of a resource as well, is to check with your neighbor, and they might have a different idea for improved speed.
Or you could move.
I could move below the bluff.
Yeah. All right, those are some of the items we thought we'd enlighten you with tonight. If you have any, now would be the reason or the time to ask any questions that we might be able to answer for you. Are there any particular projects that you would like to see us take a look at down the road? We have previously came up, the plan commission was another park. And the proposed area would have been in the Hamlet or the Hamlet of Valmy with available land, and also they would like to have some kind of park for their children. Apparently Institute is a little bit out of the way, especially when the babysitter is in having the kids in tow. So it's an item we've been looking at, just that we haven't really been able to come up with any of the funds that would make that all happen. But if we had a nice donator of funds, we could probably give it a good look. Yeah. Do you have any capital improvement projects you would like to see? Other than the road in front of your house fixed? Go ahead.
A few years ago, we talked about the possibility of a satellite fire station somewhere up in the Valmy area. I think we should continue to explore that possibility. Just a small station that we could house a tanker and a brush truck in. Especially, you know, we have, again, 5 of our department members in Sevastopol, and it would also help the ISO rating as far as water supply, because under that satellite station, we could put a cistern and improve our insurance rating for this area. So,
very good. I know we talked about it for a while, but then we just didn't have any money to do it then either. But more and more, there are buildings that are coming available.
Sure. The other option would be to put just a cistern system in,
right.
You know, which includes burying a tank, insulating it, of course, so it doesn't freeze, and some sort of recirculation in it. But,
all right. Very
good. Could we renegotiate our contract?
2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other concerns or comments?
Generally, what does something like that cost?
A satellite station?
Yeah.
3 years ago when I looked at it, we had talked about, the city actually putting the building up. And this was just talk, of course, nothing was approved by either side, but if the town would supply the property and the infrastructure, the well, the septic, and the property, we would supply the building, manpower, and the vehicles. So it'd be a minimal cost. I think the estimate I had for a building back then was around $250,000. There was some talk about utilizing the property here in Institute. However, I believe Valmy would be that area would be a better shot to go either east or west, cover both shorelines, so.
Were you looking at a man station? Or
No.
Parking garage?
We would still be responding from Sturgeon Bay as usual. It's just, if some of our members could respond to this station, improve some of the response times, and then the most important thing would be the water supply.
I think at that same time, we thought that when we did a survey that we would need something like, we'd need 2 stations to man both sides if we were to go out on our own, plus we'd need like 45 people to
Right.
man them. So a satellite station would be more feasible.
How do you think the roundabouts are gonna affect your response time?
Shut the water up.
That is $1 million question.
It's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
It is, and if you can get an answer from the DOT, because I can't. They're claiming it's not gonna be an issue. I have asked them to tell me another city that has a bridge and the traffic volume that we do on weekends. They claim we'll be able to get through the roundabout. I am extremely worried about it.
Yeah.
I know cars don't give an inch.
When I placed that call to them, their response was, people will stop for the red lights, the fire trucks, the police cars, ambulances.
One of the suggestions I had is maybe if they had a red light at the roundabout when the bridge was going up, to stop the traffic at the roundabout. It's not going to make the solution, but until it happens, I don't think we're going to give any satisfaction.
That would defeat the whole purpose of the roundabout.
Well, not a stoplight that would go on and off, but just, my concern is when the bridge goes up, that the roundabout's gonna be full and we're gonna have a hard time getting across. And not just us, I mean, the general public.
Well, I know the roundabout in De Pere in the morning in rush hour, there's a bridge that comes across and then it hits a roundabout. There's just no place to go. I
And
mean,
that bridge doesn't open.
Yeah, and it's just so busy that the roundabout's full and every intersection is full, so if there's a response vehicle coming through there, they have no place to get over.
Maybe you can use that in tactical military vehicle.
Power release.
Department has some ramp.
Cool.
Okay, we're running a little bit over time here. We had no resolutions in written form provided by anyone, so we don't need to go there. The last bit of information, and hopefully, did you all heard about the Burning Cow Festival? Well, it's coming, folks. There will be a the Burning Cow Festival will take place July 23 to 25 on the grounds of Door Devil Motorcycle Club next to the Wisconsin Motorcycle Memorial north of Sturgeon Bay on Matthew Road. Co-hosted by the Funny Farm Productions and the Door Devils, Burning Cow will be a 3-day music and camping event focused on bringing emerging and established rock, bluegrass, all country, and jam bands to the peninsula. All ages are welcome and concessions are planned to be affordable. I do have it that there will be more than 17 bands expected to perform in the course of the weekend, currently scheduled are a whole bunch of them that we'll never understand anyway. We have been in contact with Door County zoning and what is allowed and not allowed, and apparently they're good to go. Is that correct, Linda?
At this point, yes.
Okay. The 3-day festival camping passes are now on sale through Ticket Star outlets and box office at Rush Center in Green Bay. 3-day pass is $40 until May 24, and then it goes to $60, and it would be $60 at the gate. The festival grounds are 4780 Matthew Road, Sturgeon Bay, and a number to call in the event you're interested in doing it.
I assume they will be requesting a burn permit, so we will definitely be in touch with you.
We'll probably have to issue a picnic liquor.
Yeah.
And most likely, temporary Class B license.
Well, they're gonna
as well.
want a fire truck there too.
I think they want you there 24.
Yeah. They've asked me to judge various contests in the past.
I did that too.
Passed on that.
They kind of go for the uniform people.
Yeah.
If they are to put up a big party tent or that, you get involved in.
Tents need to be inspected. They have, in the recent years, they've done a really good job with their bonfires. They have.
I think this is going to be bigger and better than anything you ever had.
Yeah. What is thrown on, after we leave, I don't know, or whom, but.
This will probably be your farewell.
Could be. I'll bring Linda.
Okay, no other business. The motion would be in order to adjourn. I'm sorry.
I got one question about that. Does the town have any control over how late they play, like a curfew? And that?
I don't know.
Well, if it was in a town park, we would have a curfew, but I don't think we can enforce a curfew on private property.
There before they on 24 hours. And she gets, we can hear it from our place. It's like there's.
I can hear it at my place.
Pardon?
I've heard it at my place.
Yeah, I mean, you got, up and down the road, you got people with little kids. I realize it's like a private, but, you know what I mean?
I would think that would fall under the Door County zoning ordinance regulations as far as if you're disturbing the peace or being a nuisance.
I didn't know if the town could say something.
We might have to appoint a constable that lives immediately in the area. Okay, any other items to be?
So they're having permits for camping, does that room revenue come back to us then?
No.
Camping is not covered under the.
That's under.
Not at all?
Not unless it's a permanent structure in a camp, like, one that has its own frame cottage, or
That's the only thing.
another one that has the camp trailer, small motor home, or mobile home.
You can camp on private property up to, I believe it's a total of 17 calendar days or maybe 10 consecutive days, something like that.
Okay, no other business. The motion to adjourn would be in order.
So move.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all for coming.
And who will second?
Call to order the meeting of the Board of Supervisors for the town of Sevastopol on Tuesday, April 21st at 7:42. Roll call would be in order, please.
Chairman William Hoover,
Here.
Supervisor Tony Hink,
Here.
Supervisor Chuck Tice,
Here.
Supervisor John Stavenitz, and Supervisor Dan Wolfel.
Here. We do have a quorum. We met everybody before, and unless you want to do it one more time, but we'll pass it for now. Do we have any comments from the public before we get into the regular meeting? Thank you for sticking around anyway. No comments, we'll move on. The agenda has been properly noticed.
It has been properly noticed.
With that, I appreciate a motion to approve.
I'll move that we approve the April 21st agenda.
Second.
Motion by Chuck, seconded by Dan to approve. Nothing too spectacular there, I guess. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's carried. Approval of the minutes of Board of Supervisors, February 23, special meeting, March 16, April 8th. We'll take them all in the bundle. Need a motion first to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Having had the opportunity to look at them all, did anyone have a question or comment? I don't know if we'll ever find anybody who can do as good a job as our current clerk treasurer. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Good job, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Financial report, February and March 2015. Would show the fund balances, the actual budget versus the actual expenditure, transactions, and the date, and the list. And that's all inclusive to the budget in March 31st, 2015. If there are no questions, now we better take a motion on this. Need a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by John, seconded by Dan to approve the financial reports, February, March. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It's carried. Oral committee reports, committee minutes. Part of your packet would have been then from the Door County Tourism Zone Executive Committee. And boy, they really have some long meetings. Dating back to February 2015. No questions or comments, we'll accept them and place them on file. Any oral committee reports? You're on. Make them short, we're out of time.
Pretty quiet minutes.
Yeah, well.
Good job.
Door County Tourism. 2014 ended on a high note, with most of the matrix ended ahead of our goals that we set for the year. Did significant work was done by the Door County Visitors Bureau to increase the URLs for searches for the doorcounty.com, which continuously puts us up on the top 5 positions on the Google. Door County hosted 81 journalists for 2014, which resulted in 3.5 million media reader viewers. Every dollar spent on the media marketing program has produced an $8 return in ad value. So we've got a lot of ad out. 8 trips are booked for 2015. The first one already took place in February as a winter-themed trip. We'll be seeing stories most likely coming out in the fall to winter of next year. Wickman House and Wasita Farms were recently featured on the Wisconsin Foodie, and you can watch those episodes online. Some numbers, 2014 collections ended up 4.8% higher than last year. That's 1.3% better than we had expected it to be. And the numbers, 2014 were $3,815,721 collected in taxes versus $3,539,756 for 13. We're hoping for a better year this year yet. Things are shaping up. It looks really good. Should turn out really nice. The Door County Coastal Byways. Sister Bay and Jacksonport's kiosks are in and out and in and out. Jacksonport's is down again because of construction going on in the park. Sister Bay's is off because of the highway construction, but they are going to use the temporary one we built for the parade. They'll be placing that somewhere this summer, so at least it'll be out there. We're working on the Coastal Byways website. It's undergoing some major updates. That new look should be coming out within a month or two here. State and the federal government have yet to restore any funding to the Scenic Byways program. Door County Coastal Byways has joined forces with Lower Wisconsin River Road Scenic Byway, the Wisconsin Great River Road, and the Wisconsin Lake Superior Byways in a cooperative letter writing campaign to lobbying the federal government and the representatives in regard to reopening the National Scenic Byways application process. There wouldn't be any funding available, but at least it would give us the opportunity to proceed to try to gain national status on ours. We're continuing to work on aspects of the master plan and utilizing available funds and donations that we have to do that. And if you haven't already stopped and seen or noticed that the Ridges Sanctuary up in Bailey's Harbor has put up their new interpretive center, and that would be something everybody should stop and see. Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center. In August of 2014, Pam Seiler took over. She took the reins from Todd Trimberger. Todd resigned so that he could spend more time on his own business. He has Bliss up on Jefferson Street. Sturgeon Bay celebrated the designation of Coast Guard City in May of 14. And this was a special honor as there are only 15 Coast Guard cities in the country. And Sturgeon Bay is the only one in the state of Wisconsin. Coast Guard's been and will continue to be a great asset to the Sturgeon Bay and the surrounding areas. This year's big event is going to be the Bassmasters Elite Series. It's a championship Angler of the Year bass fishing tournament. That will be held on September 17th through the 19th. This tournament is expected to host 25,000 people. It's estimated that the direct economic impact from this event would be $1.9 million. the advertising value in print, television, and non-BAS media, $1.2 million. The BAS media platform, which is a private, BAS is a corporation. Their media platform should bring in about $300,000. So the total economic impact from this could be $3.4 million.
What was the date on that, Chuck?
September 17th through the 19th.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get the burning cow out of the way first.
And then there's a list of all the 2015 Sturgeon Bay Visitor Center events, if anybody's interested. Fire and Ice was in February, St. Patrick's Day was in March. The Sassy Sisters used to be Reuben Sisterhood. It's going to have a name change. They're pulling away from the Sisterhood organization. And that one is kind of up in the air. It's going to be between Stone Harbor and what's the other one across?
Bridgeport?
Bridgeport. And we'll have the 4th of July city's fireworks celebration then. Jazz on Jefferson will be July 11. Sail through the avenues, sidewalk sales July 30th. Maritime on Madison August 8th. Bassmasters tournament will be the 17th of September through the 19th. The 19th is also the Harvest Fest and the street art auction. We'll auction off the sturgeons again. October 24 will be Thrills on 3rd, and November 2022 will be the Christmas Ball Day. Take care of those.
Got her all done?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I saw everybody taking notes, so I'm sure they're all going to attend. Pending business cable channel program director and videographer agreement extended to 12/31. What was the problem there? It expired prior to, one of them did.
April. One expired in April.
They expire, they're renewable annually on December 31st. So they expired December 31st, 2014. At the February, or the January or February meeting, we renewed the independent contractors agreement for 4 months, I believe.
Right.
The videographer's agreement under consideration. And then as a result of the special meeting,
Extended it.
Okay, so they'll both expire at 12/31, is that?
I think that was the general consensus.
All right, very good. I'll need a motion to that effect to extend both of them, that they will expire on 31.
I'll make a motion that both the videographer and cable channel program director be extended until 12/31/15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, questions or comments? We'll come back with an updated one hopefully in time to renew it for January. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And it's carried. New business item, discussion and action. Petition for a zoning amendment from Countryside to Commercial Center. Property owner Stephen Lovenstein at 4001 State Highway 4257. Steve is in attendance and he's going to tell us all about it.
I have some maps here. Where do you want me to display them?
There we got one.
Can I add some maps to that, John?
tape, John, or clips or something?
Here's a clip.
Thanks.
I'm just gonna screw that with the bar. Otherwise, I'll get tape here.
Yeah, and flag Judy.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Steve Lobenstein. I would like to request a change of zoning on my property located on 4001 State Highway 4257 from countryside zoning to commercial zoning. I put up some maps here which indicate this is what the town, on the town of Sevastopol future land use plan is asking to do, is commercial zoning from the start of the town to the 4257 split. This is existing zoning as of now, from the 4257 split to the town entrance here on the south side. Then I also have a map down here which pretty much shows what the zoning, the setback, the area I'm asking for, okay? So the town of Sevastopol has identified an area of commercial center through many meetings with the community to create the future land use map, which is indicated right here. See the town of Sevastopol future land use map and also the existing commercial map in this area, which is this existing commercial map. If you look at the existing commercial map, you will see starting at the 42 split and moving south, commercial areas are C&W Auto, the Mill Supper Club, the old Charlie's Upholstery Building, the old theater property. Directly across from the road from the subject property, which I am requesting a zoning change, is the Blonick Investment Group, Door 44, Grandma Tommy's, and 2 CSM lots. Grandma Tommy's and 2 CSM properties that were changed from CSM countryside zoning to commercial zoning were done in 2004. Also directly across the road is Lakeview Gifts, which would be located right there. There are also many more properties to the south that are commercial, which I'm saying from my property, there's many more properties which are commercial going down here. So if you start up in the corner, you're seeing the commercial, 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 and commercial all the way to the entrance of the town on the south side. Directly to the south of my requested property, in September of 2005, the RPC recommending zoning change from countryside to commercial center. Upon identification of they would receive this upon identification of the upland property. So what I'm saying is, from the south edge of my property, which is here, to going further south to Zahn's Green Thumb, that was approved for zoning change in 2005 upon identifying the uplands. And in 2010, there was 20 acres rezoned from countryside commercial center on the Schrank property, which is located right here. Or I should say, better yet, either that one right there, because that's the existing commercial. So, as you see, there has been commercial property changes since 1995, when the comprehensive plan has taken into effect. The town's future land use map indicates area of 1,518 feet starting on the south end of the property and moving to the north 450 feet from the center of the road, which would be approximately 16 acres. What I'm indicating to you, on the south end of my property, going 1,518 feet, the town indicates they would like commercial zoning there, going 450 feet back from the center of the road. I am requesting an area of 450 by 450, which is 4.65 acres, less setbacks of 107 feet from the center of the road, which would bring the usable area down to 3.5 acres less and any side yard setbacks. So my area I'm requesting is exactly 4.65 acres, and if I wipe out the whole property, which I'm not going to do, it would bring it down to 3.54 acres less any side yard setbacks. In 2001, this property received a conditional use permit for a trade and contract business, so there is a commercial business already operating out of this location. I would like to be able to create a professional office at this location, which would take a rezoning to countryside. So, again, in 2001, the property was countryside. It was rezoned to, not rezoned, but I received a conditional use permit and for contractors trade business, and that would be 11 acres in countryside. If you look at the different businesses you could create in countryside zoning versus countryside, they could be less desirable. So I encourage everybody to look at this, because there's a lot less desirable you'd want in countryside. I believe some of the uses in countryside zoning conflict relevant goals, objections, action items from the comprehensive plan, also as it does in the commercial zoning. So basically, the bottom line is, I'm trying to get an area around my buildings. I don't want to go all the way because I do not have a use for it, but I want to turn it into a professional area. And as you can see how this property is kept up and how this property is kept up, that would be beginning my main goal. Does anybody have any questions?
You know what the problem was, John, when we first talked about that whole corridor being zoned commercial at the time of the hearing and the time of the plan was coming about? We had something, the center line versus the shoulder of the road.
That was the thickness of the red on this map over here is when we had a session where everybody had crayons, they would draw a line where they thought they wanted commercial to come about. So they'd put a line and then they tallied all that up, and each line, I'm not sure the exact amount, how wide it was, but they would say if that was a foot, that's how wide they went out. So anybody and everybody that was there put a line there, and that's why that's so thick, and I think that's how come we came up with the 450 feet on each side of the highway to be rezoned as commercial.
John, can I add this something
Yes.
here? I asked the Door County Planning Department from the mapping department if they would tell me exactly what the length of this is from their diagrams.
Okay.
And they indicated to me
Yes.
it was 450 feet from the center. Now again, my setbacks for any building is 107 feet from the center.
Right, but what I was saying was how we got to that 450 feet was as many people put a line when we had where they wanted their commercial, their businesses and commercial to grow. And that's how we got it in the comprehensive plan.
Sure.
To make it that 450 feet through the help of, people that we had made the comprehensive plan. So that's how come, to my knowledge, that's how come it's 450 feet, so.
Didn't this come up before us before? Am I thinking of something? I thought Steve brought this.
I think you brought it when you changed it to countryside, right?
No, I just recently, a year and a half ago, I brought this in.
Right, I thought you did.
To the planning department, the planning of town of Sevastopol. Then I also came to the town.
Right.
And I wanted their input on it and see if they would still advise and move forward with this. And at that time, I was asking to go move forward with the 1,518 feet. I don't want to do that at this time. I don't have a use to change that. My use now is to change the existing, which is countryside. I have existing commercial billing in this area. I want to change it to commercial, where I can have professional office there instead of being labeled as trade and contractors business.
But going up towards C&W Auto, a portion of that, right? Am I correct in understanding?
That I was asking for when I...
And still are for some portion of that?
No.
Okay.
It's 1,518 feet. When I came in before, I was just getting the feel that what you thought on it, and it wasn't for no request to change this at this time. And the thought at that time that you'd be game to go for the 1,518 feet, but I decided, this is a homestead of the Tomjanoviches, and I decided I want to keep this in natural area at this point. So I'm only asking for the 450 feet by 450 feet, which would encompass around the buildings approximately 125 feet.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions of Steve?
The way I understand the county's problem here is they want to consider this spot zoning because it's such a small area. And you would have the opportunity to request rezoning of the entire piece.
Yeah, but this is all spot zoning. Spot zoning.
Well, spot zoning has already occurred there, yes. And the intent of the town was the entire area should have been or should be commercial zoning. But the county has the problem that they don't want urban or sprawl on the highway corridor either. So,
Yes, but
I mean, these are the problems they're throwing at us now. It was our intent to develop that as commercial property, and now the county's telling us, oh, we shouldn't do it, or we shouldn't do it piecemeal. Well, you know, the way I'm reading this.
well, per our comprehensive plan, that was where we wanted
Right.
the businesses and.
And the county's the one that laid the 450-foot measurement down. When the people circled the area on the map, they just drew a circle. They didn't measure anything, they didn't do anything. When the county got that map, they laid a scale on it. And they said, oh, that's 450 feet or close, you know, so that's the number we're gonna use. And that's where they drew the line.
Well,
So,
yes and no.
you know, the county's got problems, and when the town wants to do something, the county seems to always go against us.
Right.
So,
There was roughly 100 people at that meeting, and they all decided where they wanted the line to go, where they wanted the commercial to go. So each one had a certain percentage, and when it was all laid out, that's why you see some of the lines are thicker, and then you got the little spots up there that are smaller. That was why each person got, say, a foot or 2 feet or whatever. So per our comprehensive plan, that's where we wanted the businesses to grow. So I don't know, if the county has a problem with that, then we work with that.
You're confused by Sue's comments if you read in the package on page 3 of 6. Underneath considerations for evaluating the petition, 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth bullet down, would the new district fit an official plan guideline for this property? Is the existing district a better fit? She writes, the new district fits the future land use maps for the property, which is what Steve is citing, but the new district does not fit several plan policies or action items. I don't know what she's referring to.
If you look at the other page, next page, or page,
The number down the
I'm
bottom.
trying to find it here. Page 4-6, Dan?
Yeah.
That'll explain it, but again, I'm saying all their goals, the relevant goals, objectives, and action items for the comprehensive plan, it also, you gotta look at the countryside zoning that can be done on this part of property too, as well as what can be done in the commercial side also. So it's really a conflict on both sides. Because there can be commercial development on this property, but, let me rephrase it. In countryside, there can be commercial development on this site. And stuff that may not be the appearance the town would want, and that goes same for the commercial development.
So if this happens, is there any issues with road access? The existing driveways would be used for whatever you would put on them?
No. I mean, state looked at everything for me, and
Do you have to close one of those or not?
if I change the property up into here
Yeah.
and make more commercial to this property, then I have an access to close these driveways and come in from here. And that's in the deed restriction. So, but if I don't add anything to this property, then I don't have to make a frontage road. So that's been addressed. And it's been addressed.
Okay, the reason why it's before us is that our plan commission was not able to establish a quorum to have a meeting. So the instructions were to bring it to us directly, as we need to go to the county with our recommendation. And our limitations, where's the form that we have to fill out? Is that on the back?
It's about page 4 into the packet. Request for town recommendations, if we could address those reasons.
Okay, it would be the, prior to the 116. Town Board Committee held a legally noticed property meeting, either supported or denied a petition. The reasons for the town decision, proposal consistent with the town comprehensive plan. So let's first go out and see if we have any more questions about the petition for a change in the zoning. And that change would be CS to CC. Any concerns? From what we all gathered when we had the planning sessions, is something that we can do, John, or?
Yes, it fits with the comprehensive plan in the corridor up to the mill.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to either support or deny the petition.
I'll move that we support this petition.
I'll second it.
Linda, you're taking the notes on the form?
I am taking notes. Are there any specific, if we could just go down the form here, reasons for the town decision, that it fits with the comprehensive plan and the future land use of Sevastopol?
Okay, let's come up with a reason for the decision to approve.
Boy, I think Linda just said it. It fits within our,
Okay, well, that was the second question.
yeah, but it's kind of overlaps in this case because it does. It fits within our comprehensive plan of the directions that we wanted to go in that area.
Okay, do we have any concerns or objections that we wish to either modify the proposed amendment?
No second-story lights that are on 24/7,
Are they?
like across the street.
Not
See, I don't get
all
out
part
that
that's
late,
shining
I'm
down
sleeping.
You can shoot those out.
No burning cow.
there. No loud music after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Are we being serious about the
I'm-
lights, or am I just?
I can pass on that.
Are they on? Thanks, Dan.
Okay, are there anything for the consideration to augment your decision or not? Or is, okay, and the instruction then would be for Linda to make contact with and fill out the form. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Good luck and welcome, and hope it works.
Thank you.
Your petition is up on May.
May.
May 4th.
May 4th. It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think.
All right, very good.
Would it be a reason, common sense? Would it be common sense?
Okay, and jumping around on the agenda, I did pass up the license and permit section, if you, God bless you, and then if you have a question or comment on independent inspections? The permits that have been issued?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Flieger was approved.
All right, and then we also have the notation here as far as the Patriot Golf Solutions LLC doing business at Cherry Hills Golf. And the tin plate, doing business at the tin plate at Old Kitchen Post. No questions or comments, we'll move on. The annual treatment of the ash trees at the town park. I have
Thank you.
information that still sticking around, Dick Modwin, supervisor type person, had provided the treatment, is that correct? White.
Yeah, although Dick always advises me on.
We'll change your name. All right, you tell us what your application was and why.
Oh, okay. No, it's not on. The application was for emerald ash borer, which is present in the county. We have not identified it in this area, so what we're doing is a drench treatment to all the ash trees, susceptible trees in the town park, and there's trees around this building as well, in hopes of protecting them from the borer and saving the trees. So it's a spring and a fall application. It's a systemic, so it has to be applied to the soil and taken up by the roots and goes up into the tree in sufficient quantities to deter the borer. The only problem is we've got a tremendous scale problem on every one of the ash trees right now, so.
You just saw that, what is the?
Mecanium scale, a scale is a scale insect, so right now it's protected by a hard shell. If you go in there and you see all the trees are black, they have a black appearance to them. That's sooty mold, which is from the, and I didn't notice it last fall, but apparently there's a high enough population. The crawlers come from underneath all the scale that you see now, go out onto the leaves and feed, and then the excrement from the insects feeding on the leaves supports this mold. So the trees get kind of a black in appearance, but.
So is this something that we should have like Meisner or somebody come out and treat the trees for that?
I would say once, over a course of about 2 or 3 years, because the crawlers are fairly susceptible to parasites, this may be just a come and go problem that we may not have to worry about treating. So, I'm willing to keep treating the trees, and we'll keep an eye on them. There's 8.
You think a guy's got to treat them every fall? That's what you're
Every
saying?
fall and every spring, yeah, to get enough into the tree. So, willing to do it, and we'll see if we can save our ash trees.
Save your ash. Okay.
There you go, everybody picked up on that one. But there is a problem with some of those trees around there, because of the high traffic. Yeah, I don't know what you do about that. The soil gets really compacted. The 2 sugar maples there are probably going to not look too good because there's just too much compaction in the soil. So, see how it goes.
Okay, well, we thank you for doing that, and we'll look forward to your continued.
I'm glad you look forward to it.
Okay, next item will be the notice of the zoning administrator change. Kay Miller has departed, and our zoning administrator is now Jeff Kusow. I did have a conversation with him last week. He seemed to be a nice gentleman. I have not met him. That was on the phone. Institute Valmy Athletic Club. Renewal of alcohol beverage license, Class B. Fermented, what? What is FMB? Beer?
FMB, fermented malt beverage.
Okay, it's for the period May 1st to October 31, essentially the Cubs baseball team at the park. That is approved by the clerk and doesn't require any action by us.
Well, no, it's not a picnic license.
Oh,
It's a regular 6-month combination.
all right, we need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
No question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Independent inspections, limited reminder notices on non-compliant. We had one other one here, Wisconsin Towns Group.
Yep.
What was that all about?
That's to pay the dues.
Yeah.
Formal action to approve dues.
Okay, the Wisconsin Towns Association annual membership renewal of $745.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did anybody give any consideration to joining
No. Urban?
urban towns?
We just have a problem trying to decide what we're gonna gain from that,
You do,
you know?
Part of it was
We get to go to more meetings.
the ability to use the website. Some of the programming, different things that came out, I recall right, they were like $50 a shot.
Right, the dues to join the urban towns is about the same as joining Wisconsin Towns Association. If you want to take advantage of the Towns Association website, it's a one-time annual fee of $50, so.
Is that to get the DVDs, or what is it?
It's like Whistline programs,
Okay.
but, you know, webinars and Whistlines and district meetings pretty much cover all the same topics that would be out there.
What's your pleasure? What are you gonna do? Pass?
Bring it up 3 times so you can pass it on 3 times.
Okay, we'll move on. Independent inspection limited reminder notice on non-compliant properties on Bay Shore Drive at 4740. And also 3986 Glidden Drive.
The one on Glidden Drive, those people have moved. They're no longer residents anymore.
Brett did offer to come to tonight's meeting, but he also suggested that we give these people 30 days to respond, and then Brett could come back and tell you what options you have in order to urge some compliance on these issues.
Including the guy that's had 3 times, huh? Okay.
All right, 5780 West Jorns Lane as well. And we have one other on Town Line. Well, that would be west of 42, where the fenced-in, roped-in area, I think. The first parcel to the east, rather.
had a discussion with Brett on these items, these people, and his concern was that he is not getting compliance from them. His letters go unanswered, his phone calls go unanswered. The one has been going on for several years already, and the people will not bring the property into compliance, so he's looking for some assistance from the town in helping him get this problem solved. Which may get down to a fact that we may have to cite these people or something.
Talking more about the town line property.
The one on,
One that he was really concerned about was the one on the
West Shore.
Bay Shore.
Well,
The project had been completed and illegally completed, and the people will not bring it to code.
So what is our options? Really nothing other than.
Well, he's done everything he can at this point. We're gonna have to either resort back to the town ordinances and force the issue legally now, or have him cited. You can pay a fine now for not bringing it up to code. He still does not have his occupancy permit to use the property, and he's been doing it for 2 years.
oh boy.
So,
Would that be something we could take to the fire?
Why do we need to give them another 30 days?
everybody's trying to.
Gain compliance without going to.
I hate to say it, but I think we really need some really good legal advice. And I've brought it up before. I said, we have a problem right there too, so. We've got ordinances that just, we can't enforce them. So,
Has anybody, did the town, does anybody from the town, like one of the board members, can we contact these people ourselves, or can't we do that?
Yeah. I had one that I did for Brett. Nothing happened. I hand-delivered the letter to them. They never did anything. So you'd have to go and, we have an ordinance that we could have a sheriff sign it. Or do we have to go to Randy?
the sheriff will not enforce it by town ordinance. We've been told that.
Especially if it's a forfeitable offense. They get along with paying $100 fine, and then it starts all over.
I think you'd have to take it to our attorney and, obviously it's a code violation and there would be some type of ordinance forfeiture. I think you need to start with the attorney and a legal action.
We need every 30 days.
The letter does not specify 30 days. Like I said, Brett certainly offered to come to tonight's meeting, but, the letters, some of these letters, I take that back, they are dated February, so.
Give them more than 30 days.
But we didn't have a meeting in March either, so thus the delay. Brett is willing to come anytime you'd like him to come.
2 blocks south.
I can't do nothing. That's a good idea.
It's just a little bit north of Birmingham, it's across the street. I believe it's guardrails on their deck.
Everybody that we take some.
Guardrails on the deck.
Take it right out there.
I think for guardrails on the deck,
Otherwise, we just run the risk of having non-compliance with anybody and everybody else.
They all want to take matters in their own hands.
Yeah, I agree.
Guardrails, how stupid can you be?
All right, let me see if I can make contact. 2 of them appear to be down in our bailiwick with Chuck. Bay Shore, and the other one, I had done business there, so I'll make sure I go in and check with them. We'll bring it back for next month.
Doorland Preserve Limited and DNR approval to remove materials from Dunes Lake bed. This was an application by them to do some dredging, and I am understanding that the permit has been issued. I have been in contact with Greg Colthurst, who is kind of spearheading this whole thing. I don't know if he has an active interest in it. However, he is with the Door County Soil and Water Conservation Department, and they have the permit, but they don't have any dollars until Mr. Weidman makes a large contribution.
May I ask a question on that?
Say what?
May I ask a question on this project?
You can ask anything you like.
Okay. I'm just wondering where the dredgings are going to be.
We don't know that.
Where they're going to be deposited? That would be my that would be a major concern, where those dredgings are going to end up.
And they talk in their permit that they're gonna haul them away to some safe site, that's not an issue. And I think they're going in their backyard.
He just wants to dredge out his own little pond.
Pardon me?
That's just his pond on his land, but it's navigable waters too, so they call it they call it a Dunes Lake, but it's actually a
No,
pond
no,
on his
this
land,
is
isn't
Dorland
it?
Preserve, that's not Greg Meisner, he's just a member of
Oh,
Dorland
that,
Preserve.
yeah, Dick Goldman and those guys.
Yeah, I don't know, this is part of the,
510,
part of the Geisen Creek and
Yeah.
issue that we had.
Okay.
It's actually Haverly.
Does anybody, does anybody even know where it is?
I would forget how it is, how are we gonna get anything in there, it's a bog. Airlift and a crane. So Greg supported this effort on their part, but they don't have any money to do it yet.
Well, I believe that he's looking for some place to dispose of the dredging material, and perhaps that's when the town is going to get involved. So as of now, they have the permit, but the actual dredging will not take effect immediately, or will not be effective. I can make contact with him and see where he's going to put this stuff. So I bring it to your attention so that you know about it.
We should have Lanny videotape this.
We'll have Laddie go out there on his canoe.
This is something that's not going to happen overnight, because they got till March of 2020 to complete the project.
Right. It'll be a lot.
Based on finance, they'll do what they can when they have money to do it.
Okay. Approval of the vouchers, bills, and claim February 24th through April 21.
Move that we approve the February 24th and the April 21st voucher bills and claims.
I'll second that.
Everybody's taking a look at them? Yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolution 2-205. The town board established a procedure and criteria for allowing alternate forms of sworn testimony at the Board of Review hearings. Linda, you're in charge of all that stuff.
This is just one of the changes that came down regarding the board of review process, that you must allow alternative forms of testimony if the petitioner requests it, and it's spelled out there under procedure. And that's pretty much a boilerplate resolution that I obtained off the Wisconsin Towns Association site, and the towns are approving this. And then there, as you can see, there's also a specific form. Anyone requesting to testify by telephone or submitting written evidence has to complete that form.
Did we ever address whether or not someone else can appear in your behalf without having written authorization?
I don't think there's a requirement for written authorization.
Under oath by telephone, or submit written statements.
So I had a question on, it says procedure 1A. It says legal requirement to provide notice or intent to appear at the board of review must be satisfied. So if they don't appear at the board of review, we can't, or at the open book, do they have, does that mean they have to appear at the open book?
No, they don't have to appear at the open book. Right now, the requirement, I mean, for anyone to object at the board of review, I believe it's 24-hour notice. But as I indicated previously, our town board has waived that, where someone could just walk in during the board of review session, complete the objection form, and you would hear the case. So this is just, again, requiring that they need to provide intent. They need to notify us that they intend to appear at the board of review, either in person or by phone or by a written statement. So they need to let us know which procedure they're selecting.
Okay, do we have to have that on display somewhere to let them know that we're in compliance, or?
When we publish our long form, notice of board of review, that must be published in the paper. Those stipulations will be included in the new form. We have to post it on the door. We have to post it on the door in at least 3 places, and it must be published.
Who makes up these rules anyway?
Looks to me like you do.
They're legislators.
Yeah, I know, thanks. Okay, I need a motion to approve resolution 2.
I would love to approve, make a motion to approve resolution number 2, 2015
Yeah, I think you would,
to establish procedures and criteria for allowing alternative forms of sworn testimony at board of review hearings.
And I would love to second it.
Oh, mackerel. Question or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Passed out at your table tonight. Here are the infamous town committee appointments for the year 2015 to 17. If you take a look at page 2, it indicates.
I see on the Park and Rec Board, you don't have, did you take Bob Strotka off that?
Let me explain what I'm talking about first.
Okay.
Fire and rescue, I have 4, and we did not, and we carried forward a vacancy in that particular committee from last 2 years. Then the PEG cable is at 4. I'm trying to think why I went the route I did. It had to do with,
We took off Lene Phillips. I guess she wasn't available.
oh, that's right, I couldn't make contact with her. That's what it was all about. I could not make any contact with Linnea, but I will try to get through that one. Park and Rec, we had talked about reducing it from 7 to 5 previously, and we did have perhaps a need to talk to Bob, see if the last time I saw him, I didn't talk to him about it, but have you made any contact with Bob?
I call him for every meeting, and his wife Diane told me he really looks forward to coming to the park meeting. He's like our, voice on Clark Lake. I mean, you look at it one way, it kind of gives Bob, at his age, gives him something to look forward to, and he's a good voice on the board because he's around Clark Lake, and he, kind of gives us a little info on the CLA. Now, I've also got, and I don't know if you want to stay at 5 or go any more. I had talked to Ryan Brungraver, who had worked with us at one time. He bought a house in the town of Sevastopol. He was interested in being on the board, and what I was kind of looking at you know, he's a young guy, just in his early 30s. We've got, you know, Mark is a younger guy. I just thought it might not hurt to get a couple of younger people on the board. But that's up to you, you know, how many do you want on it?
Well, I, at one of your meetings, I brought it to your attention that we should probably reduce it to 5. And then to maintain it at 7 would put Huey on there.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Huey'd still want to be a member or not. My last time I saw Bob was at Door County Hospital, and as I said, he was having other issues, and I didn't want to talk to him about it then, but I don't have Dennis Sardner there either.
Okay. Right.
But, you know, part of the healing process sometimes is to maintain. So I would have no problem with Straka if he wants to make those meetings he can. That'd be great.
But I'm fine with keeping it at 5. You know, it's nice to have more members on, because if you get a work day, but the last couple of years here, we've had employees where we haven't had to have work days, you know, because they've been getting the job done.
Well, why don't you just see if Bob wants to?
Yeah, I'll ask
If he
Bob.
wants to, if not, we can touch base with Ryan and see too. I think it'd be a good ad.
All right, the reason why it's before you tonight is I wanted to get the Plan Commission, the next one, together, so that John could have his meetings. So John will remain as chairman. Tony, you're on there. We have a problem in that Victoria is a caregiver to her husband Peter, and I don't know if she's going to be coming to any future meeting. But we have Daryl Von Berg. The other 2 that I solicited were Laird Salisbury down on the Bay Shore, and also Ed Paul, lives up on Bay Shore Heights Circle. So.
We had a phone call about Mike Wolven.
Yeah, I didn't make any contact. I do have his number.
I talked to him.
Did you?
Yeah.
He'd be a good member or not?
He contacted Linda to start with, and then I've talked to him a couple of times, so he'd be a good member, yes.
All right, well, let me give him a call. Otherwise, Dick has volunteered to go back on it too. Property management, the 5, anybody wants to get in there. We'll have Chuck as the head hunter.
The requirements are there now. Get on that committee, you gotta carry that on.
Hey, don't say that. Okay, and the board of review, the supervisors and the chairman. I'm looking for an alternate. We have one, Mary Ellen Ramstack. So if anyone else would like to bid on that. The weed commissioner is open, Dick, if you want to be.
We don't have a weed commissioner, come on.
Well, we had Jack.
Weeds and bugs.
Yeah, there you go. Weeds and bugs. We could change that. All right, the fire marshals. That's a very important one. Supervisors, the clerk, treasurer, and Margie. She writes more permits than anybody else. No, he can't do that. No, because he's got to live in our town. Dam operator, the dam operator is Huey with assistance of Paul.
You can't get a permit to pump it now?
No, could never wasn't the last 2 years. All things did not issue permits for the last 2 years.
That's news to me, since I just brought him some new books.
I was gonna say the same thing.
He's still got books, he's still running.
If you can't.
It's not, I need to go collect those books.
I mean, realistically, if you're being here for, I don't see a need.
A lot of people come in here. They just know that they should come here.
Well, we had the problem because who told me he doesn't live in our town?
Well, you remember he ran for the office for the
Sanitary
sanitary district and lost. He won and lost on the same day.
He won and lost,
Right, he won and lost on the same day.
but he still lives in our town.
No, he doesn't live in our
Well,
town.
see, that's,
Do we have a stipulation that you must be a town resident in order to issue a burn permit?
on the
He
face
has
it
a
says
business
the
up.
chairman
Wouldn't
shall
that make
appoint
sense?
citizens of the town. If you are not a citizen, you ain't gonna be here.
Otherwise, I got a good friend in Madison we have to give up permits.
All right, why don't we just approve it for tonight so that John's got his people, and then we'll fill in the blanks, so if you have somebody who wants to fill up anywhere along the line, or if they contact me, I'll do that. Need a motion to approve Resolution 3, 2015 with those apparent changes.
I move to approve resolution 2015 TB.
Did you want to add one thing? I don't care.
No, I think with Linda's availability,
And even if it's a weekend, I mean,
Might as well get as much
certainly,
work out
they
of it
certainly
as
have
we
to call
can.
me on weekends. It's no
Get as
problem.
much work out of it as we
All
can
right,
before she-
all in favor, signify by saying aye. Anybody else want to vote? I want to hear it too. Okay, let's try it again. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Okay. You want to be recorded? Yes. Chucky was a no.
Chuck, don't be such a crab.
I'm running out of things back there. Next item of business would be a thank you to Richard and Dorothy. How about Dick and Dottie Chappelle?
there you go.
For their contribution towards the Sevastopol first responders and in appreciation after they did have a first-hand need for their services, and likewise, that was for $100, and $200 came from the Northeast Wisconsin Antique Power Association and Gerald Nelson to the $200, and that'll be passed on to our Sevastopol First DMR Responder Group. We thank them for the contribution. Correspondence? Interestingly, they had quite a herd of people that went down to Dorothy Legislative Days in Madison. They reported that they had just a wonderful time. Whether or not they did anything or accomplished anything, we'll have to wait to see. The notice of timber cutting was in the area of Dunes Lake with Shoreland Preserve. And the second one was to South Brower, north of County Trunk T, to Rob and Jill Leonard. And the last would be the fire report for the month of January. And a notice for a town workshop. And there's a $65 registration fee. But if you'd like to go on a trip, you can go to Green Bay would be the closest, I guess. Otherwise, Rice Lake and Toma. If you need to go or want to go, contact Linda. She'll make the reservation. Calendar year 2014 housing survey. You want to tell us what that's all about?
Well, obviously, we had a significant drop in the number of new homes over last year. In 2013, we had 21 new home permits, and in 2014, we only had 12, with one duplex. As far as number of units lost, you'll see there's 5 units lost, and those were all demolitions of existing structures to make room for new structures.
Okay, questions or comments?
A demo, right. A demo was a loss.
Mobile homes that got up and drove away. Is that?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, is it really lost considering you replaced them? Wait, I think it's, yeah, okay.
It includes some, yes, including demolition, fires. At least none of them were fires, so that's a big thing.
Okay, the announcements are the meetings of April 30, on a Thursday evening, 7 o'clock, at Brussels Community Center for the Door County unit of the Wisconsin Towns Association. Coastal Byway Council, May 7, at our town hall. The road inspection is for May 16. The Board of Supervisor meeting next is May 18. And the open book is on May 29. Do we have any agenda items for next time other than the independent inspections? Oh, I think we'll find something. No other business, motion would be in order to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.